In this video, I will discuss my 5 favorite footballers of all time. These are some players that made me fall in love with the sport and players that will forever be special to me. Again, these are my favorite players and they don't have to be yours. So please don't tell me my favorite players are wrong because it is my personal list. Before we get into the video, please follow me on my socials and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into the video. In 5th place, I have Robin Van Persie. He was one of the first strikers that showed me what it meant to be a complete striker. He was extremely technically gifted, and he was always so secure on the ball and looked like such an elegant player. I had the pleasure of watching him during his prime years from 2010 to 2013. He was absolutely unplayable. Many Premier League strikers today do not even come close to the technical ability that this guy had. Not only did he have incredible ability on the ball, he also knew how to put the ball in the back of the net. He was one of the first strikers that showed me what it meant to be a killer in front of net. Such a natural finisher who could put the ball in from anywhere. In 2010-11, he scored 18 goals in the Premier League. Then in 2011-12, he scored 30, and then he left Arsenal and went to Man United with the goal of winning the Premier League. And he did just that by scoring 26 goals and winning the Golden Boot 2 seasons in a row. This 3 year stretch of Van Persie playing at his best will be something I remember forever, and he will always be one of the best strikers I've ever watched. In 4th place, I have Gareth Bale. I mostly love Bale for his time at Tottenham. Obviously, Bale started out as a left back, but his time further up the field showed how unbelievable of a player he was. And I say that because I've never seen a player that is similar to him stylistically as a footballer. He was an athletic freak, but also one of the most technically gifted players in the world. I love the way that he would glide past players and play a very simple style of football, almost like a very controlled kick and run. His ball carrying is some of the best I've ever seen, and he was such a complete player. His passing and intelligence on the field was incredible. He could score from anywhere. His technique was a joke. I always loved Bale, but I truly fell in love with him as a footballer during the 2012-13 season when he was absolutely tearing up the Premier League. He dropped one of the best individual seasons I will probably ever see, and he rightfully earned a massive move to Real Madrid, where he went on to be incredibly successful and play a big role in the club's success. In 3rd place, I have the only active player on this list, Jack Grealish. That might sound like a very crazy and unusual pick, but I absolutely adore him as a footballer. And no, I'm not talking about Man City Jack Grealish, a player who is forced to play as a touchline winger and a player playing in a system that doesn't suit him. I'm talking about Aston Villa Jack Grealish. There was a time where I fell out of love with the sport, but watching Jack Grealish made me fall back in love with the sport again. Again, that might sound crazy, but let me explain. I've always loved players who have the ability to glide past players and are players who thrive off playing with freedom. Grealish for me is one of the best ball carriers in the world, and he really showed that at Villa. He is not a player that should be heavily restricted, and he is a player that I would classify as a natural 10. A player that should be playing directly behind the striker and have the ability to do whatever he wants and be the creative outlet for the team. Unfortunately, this position has went missing in the modern game, and that means these types of players are misunderstood by modern tactics. During the 2020-2021 season, Grealish was one of the most exciting players in the world, but I don't know if we are ever going to see that again. I'm happy that he's winning trophies, but it was a massive loss for the footballing world when he signed for Man City. In 2nd place, I have Yaya Toure. Yaya was one of my idols growing up, and I wanted to be a center midfielder because of him. He was one of the most complete midfielders I've ever watched. I think he is also one of the most unique midfielders I've ever watched. He could do everything on the field. His passing and playmaking was fantastic. He was an unbelievable finisher with exceptional technique, and he would score worldies for fun. My favorite aspect of his game was his ability to glide past players with ease. This isn't something we see too much, especially from midfielders, but especially from midfielders who were of the same build as Yaya. He was such an explosive dribbler and would just run past players for fun. I think he's one of the most unique and talented midfielders of recent times, and he is an all-time Premier League great. In 1st place is Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Ibra is the player that made me fall in love with the sport. He was the first player I was ever introduced to, and I instantly loved the type of player he was. He is one of the most complete strikers of all time and the most unique striker of all time. I'm not even going to talk about his career achievements or his stats because I don't really care about those, and trophies and stats are never reasons for why I love players. I feel as though Ibra generally gets disrespected by the modern generation of football fans. They always misunderstand the type of player he is and always focus on things like his personality and ego. He is also rarely included in the best striker of this generation conversation. It always includes players like Luis Suarez, Lewandowski, and Benzema, even though Ibra is arguably first or second best and genuinely one of the best strikers of all time. Now, I'm forced to see guys on TikTok say that Ibra only had one world class season or that Erling Haaland's technical ability is better than Ibra's. Yes, someone actually said that. Let that sink in for a second. Ibra was always one of the most intelligent players on the field and could pick out any pass he wanted. He was an elite finisher who could find the net in literally every way possible. He could score from anywhere and do it with such ease. His goal catalog is one of the greatest of all time, but the most impressive thing about Ibra was his dribbling. He was 6'5" and dribbled like he was 5'3". His skills were incredible and his ability to dribble past players was incredible to watch, especially at his height. His profile is one of the rarest of all time, and we might see players that are similar, but we will probably never see a 6'5" striker as complete. Ibra is one of the greatest of all time, but he will probably never be remembered as so. So, those are my favorite footballers of all time. I'd love to hear who your favorite footballers are, so please tell me who your favorites are and why in the comments below. Again, please like and subscribe. I'm getting very close to 1,000 subscribers and would love to do a 1,000 subscriber Q&A. So please leave some Q&A questions down below as well if you want. Thanks so much for the support and thanks for watching.